Hey, caregivers. Thank you so much for joining us again for Let's Talk Caregivers. We have an amazing guest today with some very exciting information and some a trip that we actually just took to Washington, D.C. Her name is Pamela Stafford, and she's from the New Mexico Caregivers in Action. And she also go a So, Pam, take it away.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. It's good to see you. We did just spend the week together, but it's good to see you again. I'm Pam Stafford. I'm with the New Mexico Caregivers in Action, and we are a membership organization, which means basically that caregivers or people who care about caregiving, so advocates, people who receive care, um, are they join as members for $15 annually. And what they receive for that is access to a variety of different benefits. Some of the benefits is a group rated discount for insurances so that you can purchase at the group rate health insurance, vision, uh, dental insurance, catastrophic insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, legal insurance, in case you ever needed, we're in a situation where you needed some legal advice. And so that's, I think, is a great benefit because one of the things we know is that many people who work as independent contractors, as a caregiver, or even for companies, do not always have a really great benefit package. The other benefit that we're starting next year is something that we're partnering with Prosperity Works on, and it is an IDA matched savings. So for anyone who earns less than 50,000 a year, they're eligible to have their savings matched. If they save $500, it will be matched with 2,000. So you would have $2,500. It has to go for a specific purpose, like a purchase of a new car, to do home modifications or home improvements, to attend college. Uh, so it has to be, there are some, like with all programs, some regulations around it. But it is a
Wow, how
great matched
awesome.
opportunity. It really is exciting. And you have to do, uh, you have to work with a financial coach to make sure that you're spending the money wisely, but the money is yours. The money you save is yours. If there's an emergency, you can pull it out. But if you save the 500 and it's matched and it goes to one of those purposes, then I think it's a really good benefit for
That is
everyone that's
amazing. And
involved.
this is the one of the benefits of being part of the New Mexico Caregiver in Action member that you pay
Yes.
only $15 annually once a year, and you're able to be part of that type of thing, which helps our caregivers, especially with the insurance. If you need, some of those additional resources, you can always get a hold of Pam. We'll have her website and her contact information and description. So if you want to know more about that, look her up. We'll have that information in the description. Do you want to talk a little bit about our recent endeavors and just how much fun we had? And I think, how would you say, we were out there and we made our voices heard
We
at,
made history.
right? We made history at the Capitol in Washington, D.C.
Yes. And so, in addition to the benefits of the member benefits that I just mentioned, members with the New Mexico Caregivers in Action also get together to um, advocate for change on both the state and the national level. And the change that caregivers have been advocating for this year, and it has been a long year, is
Absolutely.
is Build Back Better, the Reconciliation Act, which has been going through Congress and hopefully will be voted on this year. You and I, Valerie, attended a march in, um, I think it was July, for
Yes.
Build Back Better in DC. Uh, this time, because it's getting close to getting passed here, we took a whole contingent of people from across the state, but most of the people we took actually were representatives from the Navajo Nation.
Absolutely. That was one of the best things. And I think, too, just to clarify that we are saying the New Mexico Caregivers in Action. However, as you guys know, Navajo Nation is on 4 states, and New Mexico is one of them. And the New Mexico Caregiver in Action has allowed for Navajo to come in because we are right there. You guys are based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So for where I'm at, it's only a couple hours away. We have Shiprock, we have Farmington right there. We have Crown Point, Rama, all those areas up that way that qualify. And has been an honor to work with the New Mexico Caregivers in Action and to do these type of things as far as advocacy for our caregivers on a high level with DC, that these policies and the benefits that we are fighting for. And this is a whole year that we're doing this again to push, and we're able to bring a group this time. And definitely look out on our social media and the website that will have these pictures out posted. But we had such amazing backing as well, not just from senators that were around there, but we were able to hear Nancy Pelosi come up, which I freaking love her. My thing that I just, she's amazing. She's ballsy. I mean, it was just awesome to hear her talk, and um, all these other senators and speakers. And we're just that tiny little pinion out of all of these nationally. So nationwide, we were all there to fight for our benefits. And right, I feel like right to be even seen, right, as caregivers and what we do in getting those benefits, such as like higher pay. Average on Navajo right now is $10 an hour, majority. And we want to have that higher pay because we want that living wage, not minimum wage. How are you going to live on that, especially on the reservation where we have more road, for us to go? So how are you going to pay for your gas? You're making it to the border town. What are you going to eat and where are you going to stay? We need that additional funding to support caregivers in that way. Paid leave. They don't get paid leave. We want them to get paid leave. Medical and personnel benefits. So like medical, dental, that's a part of it. But if you don't have it now, that's how the New Mexico Caregiver in Action has that insurance information that Pam was talking about. And again, look in the description if you want to know more about that and contact her to talk to her about that. Even retirement and the right to unionize, to be able to, again, stand up for some of these things that are happening out there as caregivers that are just kind of pushed under the rug or to the side. That's what we fought for and marched for. And, I think it's really cool because we definitely know the history of this. We started off last year, and here we are again, and having, Nancy Pelosi and all the other senators and the speakers coming up. And we even had, EDL with the NWA that was there that helped organize all this, and the SEIU, which is in union. So, oh my gosh, Pam, I was a little excited.
Well, it's a big bill. There's a lot of things in it, but it over the last year, there's been things that's been cut away from it. And so one of the things that we've been working so hard on is to make sure that the caregivers piece, and that piece also would eliminate the wait lists for people with disabilities and the elderly who are waiting for paid care. And so, really, we've been fighting to say that piece has to stay in. And what we heard is that that piece seems to be pretty solid right now. Everyone seems to understand that that's a critical piece of this bill. So other things are being chipped away at. We didn't get quite as much money in this bill currently as it started out a year ago, but it's historic. 1.5 billion dollars into the healthcare industry for home and community-based services.
Hmm.
That's pretty significant. People were so excited to have the Navajo Nation there, and partially because we do include Arizona, and one of the senators that's been opposing it is Senator Sinema.
Cinema.
uh, and so having the Navajo Nation there, I think, was really, really important. And you got to speak at an event, and what was that like to represent? Uh, and what was I was there? I saw the reaction. You spoke first in Dene, and people were asking, "What language is that? What language is that?" in the audience. And then when you said, "I'm from the Navajo Nation," the audience just erupted in so happy to have you there. So what was that
Absolutely.
experience like?
Oh man, I tell you what, as I said in my speech, it was an honor. It was definitely an honor, and I didn't take it lightly to be able to speak in Washington in front of senators and the national wide association. I mean, that is amazing. I was able to share my story and again represent for the Navajo Nation. And it feels like with other Indigenous people, as like what you said, there were so many people who had came behind, after when I finished, they came up to me and they were from all these other places and they were enamored, especially because the Sotswa Foundation is, Navajo based. And wow, it was very overwhelming. And when I heard them just erupt too, you know what I mean? That the energy there was just already, we knew that a lot of us were already, we knew we were fighting there. And having the new group even and thankful for we were able to bring, there was eight of us. There was eight of us that went out there in Navajo Nation. We had, I think, four or five. That was including me. And
Yeah,
we were able to represent that and taking pictures again. We'll have that on social media and the website, and it was truly an honor. That's what I've been fighting for years, and I'm here to support the
it's
elders
such
and my
an
caregivers.
it's such an inclusive group, right? And they were talking ahead of time about if you need translation into Manchuria, or if you need translation into whatever you needed, really. No one mentioned Dene, and
Right.
yeah,
I actually heard that, and the group was with me, and I turned to them and I said, the Nejikosha, like how about in Navajo? And they both looked at me and said, "Do you guys need translation? I guess I can translate for you." We all just kind of chuckled, and I was like, "But that was very cool, you know."
and I think it's why people were so responsive to you, is because, oh, here's a lake. They're so used to hearing it in the different languages, and here's a language they haven't heard, but it was a great experience for that reason, I think. And then the next
Absolutely.
day was the march and the rally.
Yep.
Great signs, including a New Mexico, the symbol with the Navajo Nation represented on that. And that was, people were coming up and asking to take pictures of those signs.
Hmm.
It definitely got some attention and some notice that we were represented.
Absolutely. Exactly. And it was too that, like I said, just I think the indigenous people and the fact that this is an Native American month as well, that we're able to represent that out there and saying that we're still here, as I feel like indigenous people have been saying now forever. And it's been amazing that even with Columbus Day has been turned into Indigenous Peoples Day. And the history is kind of being told correctly now. And the fact that, this passive thought of, natives not being around anymore, it's, well, no, we're still here and we're still here and we were just in Washington fighting the good fight
Hmm.
and able to represent. I thought that was, thank you so much for being a witness to that. And, um, your response as well. And I know we had a lot of fun and we got to meet a lot of good people and have that collaboration and coming together and being able to organize and again fight this, that it's not a short fight either. A lot of people I know, they were kind of like, well, why not this and why not that? And I was like, we've been fighting this for a year and here we are. It takes time and we're being diligent. And like I said before, it was just me and Pam, and now we were able to bring more of our group in and again represent. Is amazing. Is
And
absolutely
it's not over. Once this is passed on a national level, then the state folks start to think through how they're going to spend the money and what we have to make sure people know. What we have to continue to advocate for is that caregivers need better wages and that caregivers need better benefits and that it has
yes.
to be spread across the states and that it has to include tribal lands and that and there's work to do on the state level once the bill gets passed.
And I
And
think the more important thing than that too is to make sure that they're including nonprofits such
yes,
as the New Mexico Caregivers in Action and the Soto Foundation. We are both nonprofits. And I find that when they go through the state or federal level and don't incorporate the nonprofit, that's part of the biggest issue because you're adding another layer and layers of bureaucracy and how we need this. Care can't wait, right? That was one of our things.
care can't
care
wait.
care can't wait. A lot of those numbers with Alzheimer's and other these disabilities that they were anticipating 5-10 years, that we're seeing those numbers now, and that's because of COVID. That's why care can't wait. What are you going to do? So I think that's where, like, again, we do still have a lot more work, and that's why it's important to get involved in these type of things and with amazing organizers such as the New Mexico Caregiver, Caregivers in Action, because then we can talk to the legislators, the state senators. We are actually able to talk with Arizona state senators, and Cinema was a tough one. And right now, as I heard in the news, is that none of the Republicans want to vote for this bill.
Not a single one. So we have to have the two senators that have been holdouts. We have to have Cinema. And when she votes yes, you can say that you talked with her and her staff, that you were part of the reason why she voted yes, and you're and that's the great thing about doing public policy and organizing work is knowing that something that you believe in for yourself or that you believe in for your family members, that you're making a difference and you're letting your voice be heard. One of the things I really loved was hearing someone say over and over again during the march, "We are democracy in action." Um, and you know, lots of diversity, lots of different people there,
Right.
people with disabilities, the elderly, care recipients, uh, care providers from across the country, and you know, we were and are and will continue to be the face of democracy in getting the voices of caregivers and people who receive care, getting their voice out as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's where, caregivers, that's why we're having this talk today and wanted you to, if you have any questions, definitely put them in the chat, always reach out to us. And if you want to go further, we can talk more about this. And that it's because it's important that we're fighting for you on that high level. And we're not just one person. We're a force to be reckoned with, I feel like, because Arizona is actually normally a red state. And with the election this year with Biden, Navajo Nation and other tribes in Arizona, we flip the state. We went out there, we voted, we made our voice known, and now we flip the state, which doesn't happen very often. So that's the thing, is we have to bring that together again, that we want this bill to pass and have this funding, because that's what brings, again, these type of benefits and programs. So we have some more of these trainings and resources, especially to, Indian countries, what they say, and to Navajo, and having them here for us, because a lot of times we have to travel out to these border towns, and or we'll have to pay a lot of money for those. And with this, we could have those resources to where they're accessible for our people on Navajo. And again, like I said, Navajo is in 4 states, and we have our New Mexico caregivers, and we have our Arizona care. We have Navajo Nation caregivers that we're fighting for, and it just so super. Just I'm still very excited and so happy that we're having this and we're getting that momentum to have our voices heard for caregivers getting what they deserve, and not being overlooked, because we definitely are the unseen, um and unrecognized unseen and unrecognized frontline workers, just like doctors, just like nurses, because you're there 24/7 majority for your person, be it mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, nolly, children even. You're there 24/7. That's a frontline worker, because if something happens to them, you're the key person. So it's just been such an honor, and this is why I love my caregivers and providing you guys amazing resources such as the New Mexico Caregiver Coalition and Pam Stafford. Pam, did you want to say anything else?
It's just been such an honor, and your enthusiasm makes me even more enthusiastic. And I just really hope that people contact me, and that we can continue the fight. And the more members we have, the stronger our voices.
Exactly. The more impact we have. So, one of my goals that I was kind of thinking is, because they had busloads of other organizations. It would be one of my biggest goals to have that for Navajo. Let's get a busload of Navajos and get them out there and be a part of that fight, and have our voices be heard. And again, have the support from all our different partners, and get these things done for our caregivers, again, what they deserve. And that's the biggest thing. And oh man, I'm just so, just so happy and excited to be sharing all this and having Pam on. And
Thank you.
I feel like we're still off our high.
Maybe a little tired, but
Yes.
yeah. But
Long flight.
still, yeah, but still very, very happy. And I do want to give a shout out because we do have another agency that helped us out, the New Mexico Caregivers Coalition. Uh, and without them, the Caregivers in Action would have had a difficult time kind of starting and getting off the ground. And so it's uh, and they provide training and resources. But I just wanted to give a shout out to them as well, because they
Absolutely. And
were
I think just remembering that there's two separates. So Pam
yes.
is a sister program to that, and we'll definitely have the New Mexico Caregiver Coalition come on again as well. They've been amazing partners with the Social Foundation. I've worked with them for a couple of years now, and it was amazing. And with them and NWA and SEIW and so many other organizations that put this together for our caregivers, and that collaborative effort was definitely seen with the agenda they had, right? Like
Hmm.
we there was so much support that we had, again, Nancy Pelosi there and so many other senators that were supportive, in this bill.
And Ability, another agency, Ability, was there organizing it as well, and that's an agency that advocates for people with disabilities. So it was both care recipients and caregivers, because we're all in the same fight together.
Absolutely. I think that was just, again, just that collaborative effort, and just so thankful for all of that. And again, for Pam coming on today, and you as well, caregiver. So, Asho, Pam, yet niya do she ni hold ako, but ya di theologians in the at in the description, Yigi is going to have all her contact information, website, phone number, and email. You want to talk with her, please go ahead and reach out. You can also reach out to me too, and maybe we can have, again, if you guys are interested in this, and we do want you interested, you have questions, put that in the chat box, and then we can have another discussion about how important this is, and getting that momentum again, because we need to keep the fight going. The fight's been going on for a year, and if we keep having those numbers and keep having our voices known and the representation, we can get this pushed through and get these benefits for our caregivers. So thank you again, Pam, and we'll see you guys all next time. Ashe, dyan na ko na ito.